Hey, and welcome back to the Simply Fitness Podcast. I'm John Stein. On this episode of the podcast is part 2 of the basics of strength training. We're going to go over the principles of strength training and how to progress throughout your program and from program to program. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Simply Fitness Podcast. This is going to be part 2 of the basics of strength training. So last episode, if you didn't catch it, go ahead, pause this one, listen to the last one, because we're going to be building on a lot of the topics that we covered in that first podcast. So we talked about, the basic movement patterns that are within every strength training program, as well as how to incorporate and create an actual strength training program. So go ahead, listen to that. Start building your own strength training program. And today in this episode, we're going to be covering the principles of strength training. So I'll cover 2 to 3 different strength training principles that are going to control what exactly you're going to be doing in your strength training program, how to progress, and how to see results in those programs. As well as we're going to talk specifically about how to progress, and specifically how do I progress my clients moving forward in their strength training programs? How do you know when to progress and how to actually do that? So let's get into it. Let's get into the principles of strength training. So there are 3 main principles that we're going to be talking about this time. One is kind of like a 2-parter, but really 3 main principles here. So first one's going to be specificity. So with specificity in strength training, it pretty much means that your body is going to adapt to the specific stresses that you place upon it. So think about this in terms, an easy way to kind of understand this principle is to think of terms as an athlete. So if you want to be a runner, you're going to need to run in order to get better at running. So doing something like maybe swimming or cycling might be counterproductive to your goal of getting better as a runner. Though it might help, the specific stress that you're placing in your body is not the same. So you want to apply that specific stress for that body. That's why if you're training for some sports, you want to do specific exercises that are going to train you in that particular sport and the movements that you do in that sport. So when that comes to your strength training, we're just practicing for the game of life. So if you want to get better at a specific exercise or a specific muscle group, you have to train that specific muscle group. If you want to build a stronger chest, you have to include exercises that are going to build strength in that chest. Bench press variations, push-ups, whatever exercises that you want that are specifically towards the chest. If you want to build up your squat variations, quad variations, glute exercises, those are going to be ways to build up that squat. It all has to do with specific movements there. So always think about when you're building your program, what exactly are your goals? And are those movements helping you towards those goals or going away from those goals? And obviously, not every exercise needs to be specific, for a goal. Maybe it's just to help build that overall body, or you just enjoy that exercise. That's okay too. So second principle number 2 is going to be progressive overload. This is kind of that 2-parter that I was talking about in the beginning. I really like to talk about it as one principle. So progressive overload is exactly what it sounds like. Have to gradually increase your workload. So think about an easy way to think about workload when it comes to strength training is the amount of weight you're doing, the amount of sets times the amount of reps. That's your total volume of work that you're doing for that exercise and for that workout. So over time, you want to be increasing that workload. So week 1, 2, 3, 4, you're gradually increasing throughout your program. This can be done in a variety of different ways. This can be simply increasing one of those 3 variables. So weight, sets, or reps. That's an easy way to increase the workload. If you increase any of those numbers, the volume of work you're going to do is automatically going to go up. Another way that a lot of people don't think about is intensity. So either slowing down that tempo, increasing that tempo of that movement. So doing it a little faster, doing it a little slower. That's going to help make the workout harder. It's going to create that more time under tension for those muscles, causing a little bit more stress there. So that's going to be principle number 2. And 3 is maybe if I can talk today a little bit, individualization of your program. So everyone's going to respond to a program differently. That's why no one of my clients has the same exact program. They might be similar, but everybody's going to be different. Everyone's going to respond to exercise in a different way, different exercises in a different way. Our muscles are going to work slightly different. We all have different genetics. So our body is going to respond differently to a workout program. So we got to find what works best for us. And it's going to take time to figure that out. And, over time, what your body responds to for a couple weeks, a month, a year, 10 years might be different for the next month, 2 months, 10 years. So we always got to be adapting those programs and listening to our bodies and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So those are the 3 main principles for strength training: specificity, progressive overload, individualization. So how does that incorporate into our program, and how do we progress using these principles? So like what we talked about in that first podcast, again, if you haven't listened to it yet, I don't know why you're listening to this now. Still, go back, listen to that first Basics of Strength Training, part 1. First, you're going to create your program based off exactly the template that I talked about in that first podcast. 4 to 6 week program is usually a good way to start. I think 4 to 6 weeks is enough time to build that progressive overload, get specificity with your workouts, and some consistent progress here. Big believer of doing consistent workouts, not needing to change it up so much, where every single day you're doing a different workout, a different, exercises, things like that. Some consistency is good so you can see this progress. So I would stick with the same program for 4 to 6 weeks, having those either 2 to 4 same workouts that you're doing for those 4 to 6 weeks. So over those 2 to 4 weeks, you want to look to gradually increase your workload. So exactly what we talked about in that progressive overload, we want to look for ways to increase that weight, sets, reps, or intensities during that workout. This is where tracking your workouts is going to be important, because we can make notes about, okay, on Monday, that bench press at 95 pounds for 8 reps felt easy. Maybe you can go up, make a note, go up next time, or up, or stay the same. Things like that. You can make those notes to yourself. So the next week when you go and look at your program, oh, how did I do last week? Okay, for the bench press. Oh, I have a little arrow there. Okay, maybe today I'll try 100 pounds and see how that feels for 8 reps. So building up and tracking your workouts that way really helps you progress and see that progression, and as well as to know when to progress. You're not going to remember week number 1 when you're on week number 6. I guarantee that. Unless you have a photographic memory, you're never going to remember what exactly you did 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, even last week. I can't remember what I did last week for my workouts, but I have it tracked, so I don't need to remember it. So I know exactly, okay, I worked out on Monday, I was Sunday and Tuesday. Okay, let me look at what I did. Okay, perfect. Done. So track those, and then look to find 1 to 2 exercises each workout that you can increase in some way, whether it's 1 more rep, 1 more set, a little bit added to that weight, changing the intensity of that workout or of that exercise. It doesn't have to be crazy amounts. Everyone is always looking to chase that PR, everything like that. It can be 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds added to that exercise, 1 more rep, going from 8 to 9. That is progressive overload. that is increasing that workload. That's exactly what you're looking for. So don't look for these giant increases of 20, 30, 40 pounds. That might come in the beginning. It might, especially for some big movements like a deadlift or a squat. But don't chase that. Look for that progressive overload. Because what we're going to be working towards is progressively adding, and then we're going to drop it down. And then we got a new base, which is right here instead of right here. And then we're going to add, drop it back down, add. And that's how we increase there. So that brings up that next step. So once we have that progressive overload for that 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to start a new program for those next 4 to 6 weeks. Might have very similar goals, which is perfectly fine, but we're going to change up those workouts a little bit. We're going to look at, okay, what exercise were we doing? Okay, well, how can we change this? Okay, maybe we need to add some more sets, add some more reps, maybe add another exercise, change up the variations of the exercises. A, so the workouts don't get stale, and B, to hit the muscles just a little bit different. Maybe we're doing, instead of a dumbbell bent over row, we're doing a seated cable row. Maybe instead of a, bench press with the barbell, we're doing a bench press with dumbbells. Simple variation changes like that. So then again, we're going to start at that baseline. But this time our baseline for some of these exercises might not be down here where we started last time. It might be up here. And then now we can start gaining a little bit more. So when we get to that peak, it's going to be a little higher than last time. And then next time it's going to drop back down. And that's how you build. You build up over time, starting from here, and you slowly work your way up. Then you bring it back down, slowly build it up. You bring it back down because you got to let your body recover. If you keep building and building and building, eventually there's nowhere to go. If you add on 5 pounds, 5 pounds every single week to an exercise, that's going to be over 250 pounds, if I did that math right in my head. That's a lot of weight to add to a lift in 1 year. If you start benching 100 pounds and you went up 5 pounds every week, you're going to be at over 350 pounds. That's a crazy strong bench press right there. So you see how unrealistic it is to increase by 5 pounds every single week or increase that weight? That's why we got to change the reps. We got to change the sets. That's how we're going to build up strength. Is it possible to get there? Yes, eventually. But over a year, that would be incredible growth. And if you can get there, awesome. But don't look to just add weight every single time. That's why we have to drop it back down. Let the body recover. Let the muscle rebuild. And then work it back up. Bring it back down. Work it back up. Bring it back down. Work it back up. And that's how we do that. And that's why we track our workouts. That's why we see how the progress we're making, so then we can know, hey, where do we do? Maybe we need to dial it back down a little bit more. Maybe we got to dial it back up. Maybe we're not going hard enough. So you can make those tweaks to that program, those small little tweaks that change the program from being good to great, and from progress to being good to great. So there we go. That's how we're going to progress our program week to week, as well as program to program. And this is a cycle that never ends. This holds true from beginning to end. You can do this month after month after month after month for years and years and years and years, and keep building this progress up to get those results you're looking for. This is a never ending. This cycle holds true for years and years. There's a lot more advanced techniques that you can do and add in to change this up. But this is simple as it gets. This is it for strength training. This is as complex as it needs to get for most people. And this is where 80% of people are going to live. They're going to live in this bubble of training specific exercises for their lifestyle and for the activities that they like to do. They're going to slowly, progressively overload week in, week out, keep bringing it back down to that baseline every month to 2 months, bringing it back up, bring it back down, bring it back up, bring it back down. And you doing the exercises that their body responds well to, as well as the exercises that they enjoy. And that's it. That's as the basics of strength training. That's as complex as we need to get it. There's nothing crazy we got to do with it. That's as simple it is. People like to make strength training and weightlifting to be this super complex thing. But really the principles are super simple when you really think about it and you're like, okay, that's how it is. Because it's all science at the end of the day, and it all relates back very simply to almost every other aspect of our life. When we think about it, the principles are super simple. No need to be complex about it, no need to get crazy about it and, drive ourselves nuts. Let's keep it simple. If we want to get more complex, we can get more complex, but we don't have to. So let's keep it basic, guys. If you guys enjoy this, go ahead and make sure you leave a review. Love to hear you guys' responses. Ask me any questions you have about strength training. If you need help creating a program, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. More than happy to help you and get you started on some online coaching, get you started on a program, get you making those results. 2021 is right around the corner. Why start in 4 weeks, 3 weeks when we can start right now? So go ahead, shoot me a DM. Let's keep getting after it, guys. Hope you all have a great rest of your day and hope you guys come back for more next week. Bye, y'all. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Simply Fitness podcast. Because you listened to this episode, I want to give you something away for free. In the show notes, I have a link to my free fat loss cookbook. This cookbook contains over 20 recipes that are specifically designed to help you lose weight. They are filled with protein, they are simple to make, and they take away that bland, boring diet food. So if you want to upgrade your diet today, go to the show notes, click on the link, and go get your free fat loss cookbook. And make sure you come back for more episodes of the Simply Fitness podcast.